Hi, guys. Welcome to Talk to Sean. This is another episode. So, I have a friend of mine who is currently stuck in a bit of a predicament. I don't want to kind of say what he's going through at this particular moment. However, I do want all of you, when you listen to his story, to listen to his situation. You can kind of understand what's happening in the other side of the world, in the Middle East, how it's affecting millions of people in that vicinity, in that region. Because it goes to show that we can sit back at home and we watch stuff in the news, we watch stuff on our phones, and we don't really quite understand how it can impact everyday people who are just traveling, who probably live there, who are probably working there as well. U.S. consulate and so on and so forth. So I want to introduce Hassan. He is a buddy of mine from, I guess, like we could say, Stony Brook days, long time, in fact, Long Island days, right? It's been a while.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
welcome to Talk to Shashank,
Been a
man.
while.
And If you'd like to introduce yourself
Hey,
so
thank
that
you for
people
having me,
know.
man.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah, go ahead, man.
Well, first of all, thank you, Shashank, for having me. And first and foremost, really appreciate yourself and everybody who's been kind of on my Instagram page and really just like sending prayers and like constantly checking up on me. Like it was kind of an awing moment where like everybody was actually viewing the stories and listening to what I'm saying, because everybody in the U.S., my families and friends, were just kind of oblivious to what was happening. So I'm getting constant calls and stuff. So myself, my name is Hassan. I live in Staten Island. I'm from Long Island originally as well. I'm a Pakistani background, and yeah, I met Shashant about 20 plus years ago,
It's been a while.
and now here we are on a on a talk show, where like you can't predict this. You
No,
just can't.
we would ever think
This
about
is
coming
like the
together. It's funny. Oh
on
man,
these circumstances.
yeah. So so when I saw your story on
hmm
on your Instagram, I was like, whoa. This dude is like is he stuck for real? Like what's going on? I was thinking like the first couple of stories I was like, all right, they'll probably like get him on a plane and fly back and so on and so forth. But as I saw your stories, story after story, I was like, oh my god, this dude is actually stuck there. And I'm looking at the news.
yeah.
There's this ballistic missiles going, and like what you see on TV. It's like it's pretty crazy, right? And Iran's pretty much doing its own thing to defend itself at this point in time because clearly we're the U.S. and
Yep.
Israel the ones that are attacking them. So talk me. I want to know
Yep.
how it unfolded. Like for you, um, no one ever thinks about being in a predicament like this, or even imagines, or isn't even like personally prepared, right? So walk me through
Never.
exactly what's
Never.
happening, so that way, like at least the audience understands, like this is something that can
hmm
happen to anybody.
So how I got into the situation, how I got stuck in Kuwait. I was actually on my pilgrimage trip to Umrah in Mecca, and my flight was back from Kuwait because we were visiting friends here. So our flight was back on the 28th of February, which was literally the day it started. So 28th of February comes, we are literally on the plane. We take off. 45 minutes into the plane. I even have a picture of this on my phone. I'll share it with you later. You can share it with your friends. I'm looking at the map where the airplane is going, right? There's a green trail behind the airplane. And now the airplane's making a huge C, like a literally a C. I'm like, something's off. It's not making sense. Why would it make a U-turn almost? As I'm saying that to myself, the pilot goes, Iraq Airways has closed their airspace completely due to a circumstance, and we have to been told to land back in Kuwait. Now, that being said, everybody's just going crazy because now that flight is it's a pretty packed flight. I got two kids. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 6-year-old. My 2.5-year-old just fell asleep. I'm exhausted to the limit, tired. My wife is sleeping, and I'm like, wake up. We're going back to Kuwait. She goes, shut up. She's like, that's not even funny. I'm like, wallahi, we're going back to Kuwait. She goes, you're kidding, right? I'm like, no, everybody, look, everybody's talking, everybody's bugging out. So we couldn't even land right back again because the plane was too heavy. So the pilot had to burn fuel. in order for it to line back on Kuwait. So he even flew for another 40 minutes. There's like squiggly lines. You'll see it in the picture. So we land back. We have no idea what the hell's happening, right? Apparently, there's an attack. Now, where is the attack? Is it in Iraq? Is it in Iran? Is it in Israel? We have no idea. We're standing in the airport. They're saying your flight will take off after 3 hours. We're like, okay, whatever that means. That's never happened to me before. Now, all the flights on the charts where the screens are, one by one go boom, 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 delay, 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 delay. About 15 flights just add a, one by one, delayed, 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 delayed. Not even canceled. They just keep saying delayed. In Kuwait Airways, the airport terminal T4, nobody's saying anything. We go to the gates, they're not even speaking back to us. They're saying stay where you are. They're not even communicating with us. They're saying your flight will take off soon. We're like, how? The flight says 1:30 p.m. It's almost 2 o'clock. When are we taking off? Mind you, our luggage is on the plane still, right? After another hour or so, everybody starts to get frustrated. My wife is pissed off, right? Because we were literally in the air. Kids are throwing a tantrum, like complete tantrum. There's just everything's out of order. So some of the officials from the military come to the Kuwait airport nonchalantly. They're just walking to the terminal gates and they're just telling the boards, telling everybody who are manning the gates that no flights are taking off. So finally, my wife goes up to one of the officials, hey, what are you doing or what are we doing? Because we're standing here, our kids are going crazy. Either you let us go or give us a hotel. They're like, you're gonna have to probably stay in this airport until further notice, and that's all they gave us. And he, you know what he says? He laughs. He goes, "You're not flying out of here today. That's it." Like, how can you just say that to hundreds of people that have no idea what to do in this country? So, long story short, everybody starts going kind of growing frustration. Frustration is growing really high. We're going to the front level. We're like, listen, we don't even have our visas anymore because our visas got terminated as soon as we took off.
Mm.
So we made sure that we don't pay for another visa to get out. We're like, we have family here. We want to go home. Our kids are going insane. We're not going to a hotel. You can do however you want. So, worst thing, even worse than just landing back, I still don't have my luggage, by the way. We
Damn.
call the airport. They say either the luggage is in the airplane or it's at the terminal luggage center. They don't even know that themselves. So, I don't know how I'm going to get my luggage back because Kuwait Airways keeps telling us that your luggage is not available to be taken out of the airport. Why? Because 2 hours after we left the airport, guess what happened? The airport got bombed.
Jesus. Okay.
So they bombed two terminals on the airport. Now, because of that, the airport's completely closed. You can't touch it. You can't go on the road of the airport. You can't even call anybody because nobody answers. They send you to a voicemail. Then you call again, somebody puts you on hold, and the phone cuts off after a minute. So that's where my story is. After that, the U.S. Embassy in the in Kuwait area, they send me a number to call in New York, and they send me in New York send me his number to call back in Kuwait, and I'm literally playing ping pong in between those people. There's no information on it, so that's why I'm stuck here. Kuwait hasn't given us any update because we're literally in the middle of everything.
Mm.
Iraq is up north, Saudi's on this side, Jerusalem's on this side, and Iran is across the river. So we are literally in the middle, right here,
Mm.
and we can't go anywhere. All the airspaces 360 are banned from Kuwait.
So that means there is, and this particular like situation,
Hmm.
from what they're saying, it can even go on for weeks.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's something like you're kind of stuck there for like God
I'll
knows
tell
how
you
long.
why. I'll tell you why. I just got off the phone with Nicole Miliutakis's office in Staten Island. They are um,
That's insane, dude. And and just to like also understand the level of frustration that you might be like going through at this point in time. I don't even understand like not having clothes even while like traveling just for a little bit. Like if you just like travel more than 20 hours, in itself is
Yeah.
very frustrating. You know what I mean? It's really frustrating
Mm-hmm.
even for me. And you put into the fact that there's a war that's going, and
Mm-hmm.
you first didn't even know that there was a war that's happening, right? And
Nope.
and when did you actually find out that there was actually like a war, like who Iran got attacked and Iran was attacking back? When was the
Mm-hmm.
first level of, I guess, like information that you got when that happened? After you saw the big ass
First
thing.
level, first level of information was a visual. You know why? We're in the airport. This is another hour after we land, and there's no information on what's going on.
Mm.
The We start seeing military helicopters all around the airport, like circling back and forth, and just loud sound, just going. The helicopters go into the distance. Then the airport itself. I'm just putting you in perspective of what you're gonna feel. The airport starts having this vibrational sound. Goes the military cargo plane is flying right above us. So there were already U.S. military surveillances going on while we were in the airport. That was my confirmation that there's a war going on,
So they didn't
because
even
that whole nothing, nothing
so they
at
didn't
all.
even tell you like what was going on, because you told me like everybody was kind of like quiet, right? They didn't want to give you any information, and here you are having to witness a big
Nobody,
ass
not even
cargo
at the
plane.
gate. Hmm.
My God, that's so ominous to be. It sounds like one of those movie scenes. Like
It shook the terminal. That's
it definitely sounds like one of those like
I
movie
know
scenes.
it's you can't I it's I'm laughing because you can't make it up.
Mhm. No, I mean, I don't even know
Exactly.
what I would even think
Exactly.
or
And
feel.
it sucks because like we were just thinking nothing. Whatever you're thinking now, it's like we're just there and we're like, holy shit, are we gonna be like literally we was just thinking, are we gonna be bombed? That's what we were thinking. Like right
Mm.
now. That's what it was.
So what is
I hope I
the
didn't lose you.
Oh no, no, you're still here. I know the internet's pretty bad. You're in a different country, and it's tough. I can still hear you. I can still hear you. It's still pretty good.
Okay,
It's
cool. Cool.
so yeah. Don't worry, I haven't lost it. I'll let you know. And
Hmm.
man, another thing I wanted to ask is so you have absolutely no idea when you can come back at this point in time.
Absolutely not. Because the worst thing is the US embassy here. Oh no, the US consulate here, or the embassy now. I might be misquoting, but I want to get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The US embassy in Kuwait got bombed. So
Yeah.
that information that was I was barely having, that's already a cutoff, right? Now, the representative in the Kuwait embassy for the United States was evacuated from Kuwait. So there hasn't been an official update from the Kuwait area. So whoever's doing the updates, they're probably doing it in obviously in the United States or other cities around this area. And also, forgot to mention, the place we're in, thankfully we have, we have a place to stay, but we have, shutters on the windows. So there were, at least for the first 3 days, there was constant sirens going on, warning that there's bombs arriving, missiles arriving, and you could just literally see it from the sky, of the missiles coming and them intercepting the missiles.
And how did that look? I mean, like you're literally in a war zone right now, right? Um,
It's it's scary, man, because the with the two kids, of course, and obviously with everybody else's family too. You really don't know what to even think. You're just like honestly at this point, whatever your fate is, how much could you run away from it? You know, Like, what's
Mm.
the furthest point I can go to be safe? Um, but thankfully we've been, alhamdulillah, we've been pretty safe so far. But my cousin, she lives in Doha, and I have another family member in Dubai, and they told me that the civilians in themselves have been told that you can evacuate if you don't feel safe, because civilian casualties might be the next point at this time, because the escalating war. So
Yeah. And
just imagine you living in New York and saying, "Hey, get out now.
yeah. I
Go
mean,
wherever you have to go."
these are the things you only get to see in movies, to be very honest, and you see it, played out dramatically, right? For dramatization and for acting
Hmm.
purposes. My other question to you is like, since you are there, what is the news that gets? I'm presuming you have access to. I don't know if they have TV, if they have the local news going on over there. Now, the
Yeah.
way how the news is
Hmm.
presented over here, it's kind of like, oh, we're not in a war, but most of the Republicans are saying over here, we're not in a war. We're just trying to like attack them first before they attack us. That's the talk that's going
Yeah.
on over here, right? So I don't know if you have spoken to any locals over there or anybody or seen the news over there. How is the news over there portrayed? Like, how are you're finally getting to see it from a different angle, as opposed to what we're seeing
Hmm.
over here, right? So how is
Yeah.
that looking?
So because Kuwait itself holds itself mostly independent from having any allies. Of course, the U.S. bases. There are two. I think there are two U.S. bases here in Kuwait that are just using it as a base. So of course, plant their pieces to make sure, like, they can be near the Gulf. They can surround Israel, then also defend Israel from Iran's, you know, borders and whatnot, and that whole game. So the problem is that the official, as you can imagine, they want to not escalate the situation as a mindset of people here,
Mm-hmm.
telling the people that, listen, you are secure, you're fine. The war is with basically the US bases, so the civilians should be okay, right? But however, yesterday there was a casualty of a little girl, that a bomb was intercepted, and a piece of that bomb landed into that area where the girl was in the house, and she, you can imagine what happened to her,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
So,
she was no longer. So these things you can't predict either. You can say, yeah, they're only attacking US bases, but it also lies in the US bases as well,
mm-hmm.
where people have lives. There
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are people working there. Regular civilians of Kuwait are working there as well. It's not just US people from the US at all. So I don't think, I really hope so, that it does stop, of course, because whether I'm here or I'm anywhere else, this whole, we in the past 3 years we've just seen bloodshed after bloodshed, and it just looks like they're just enjoying this now at this point. They just have no courtesy of the human life itself.
yeah. Especially like you said, the casualty of that little girl. It's always civilians that always get the short end of the stick at this point in time.
Exactly.
And even though they're giving you assurance that it's only the military bases, those rockets will be intercepted, and you don't know
Hmm.
where those like debris or the explosive part of the warhead of the missile or the drone so and so might fall. It could fall under civilian territory, and that is exactly what also happened. I guess it was in Saudi Arabia. It's one of the oil rigs. They shot down a drone. The drone kind of fell down and
Hmm.
caused fire in the Saudi Arabia oil refining. And there were people that were working there. So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
there's a lot of like you don't know. It's a very crowded situation for this to even take place. And I think a lot of people now know or are openly saying it's Israel's war, and the more left side of it is calling it the Epstein war, right? That's what
Hmm.
that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
And
It's basically it. Yeah.
it's basically, and it's you're just one family, right? And there's probably
That's it.
thousands
Yeah.
of other families that are over there, and it being able to hear directly from your lens is giving me a
Hmm.
completely different perspective, because there is so much uncertainty to what's actually happening. Like anything can happen, you know what I mean? And you just have to kind
Yeah.
of like pray and hope that it just passes through. But looking at what's being said right now, especially the Senate basically voted down the Wars Act, right?
Mm-hmm.
They failed to pass the War Powers Act, which is trying to limit this administration's attempt to go to war or trying to push for war without Congress's approval, and that didn't get passed too. So it
Yeah,
seems like they're doubling down on the fact that they're allowing him to do this. So
that's my point. It's just like, the funny thing is, like, I used to run away from politics when I was growing up.
mhm,
And when life hits you in the face, you realize everything's politics.
yeah,
Like every single thing we do is about politics. Whether whatever you're working, there's politics at work. What you support, there's politics there. Whatever it is politics, right? So now you don't even have to be a politician or be in politics to realize what is going on. When you have a U.S. Marine who put their lives on the line for the US, right? Because they're the top notch. Navy and your Marine are probably, and I have a friend who I worked with who was a US Marine, and he specifically has told me that you would actually have to take his head off to make sure that he can never come back to life. That's what they're trained to do, right? They're completely trained to be flatline human beings who take no prisoners and make sure they execute a problem. And a Marine who's retired, who a few hours ago was being taken out of the Senate's hearing with four guys, and he actually broke his arm because his hand was locked in the door, and he had zero emotion to it.
mm,
Somebody like that is saying that we're not going to fight a war for Israel anymore.
yeah,
That person is being taken out. So you can just imagine what is actually taking place at this point. Who are we and who are we fighting for and who are we paying taxes for?
yeah. What about the sentiments of? Have you talked to any locals in Kuwait? Like, have you spoken to anybody? What are the public's viewpoint of, let's say, America and Israel at this point in time? Because obviously, us in the U.S., we already have a
Hmm.
particular opinion. It's, I think, in the past year, from 2025 or
It's turned
2024, I would
over.
say it's turned completely over. I
Uh,
mean, they're
yeah.
the imagery, the how Israel looks in the eyes of the U.S. Population has
Listen,
dwindled down so
w-
much.
when I arrived back to Kuwait after my pilgrimage, the only thing people wanted to talk about was the Epstein file. They were like, "What do you guys think? How can this happen?" Like literally, people here had more information on Epstein file, and I was like, "Damn, you guys have that much information." That's thankfully though, in a good way,
Hmm.
because the word is getting out, right? The word is actually getting out on who actually is in power in the United States, because that's the most powerful nation on earth at this point, right? Maybe hopefully there's a tipping point where bad people can stop having power, but I don't see an end to it, unfortunately. You know, because if you can account for how many times how many powerful people have been in those Epstein files, it's like people know. Don't like people shouldn't be fooled that people around the world know what the US is doing now. And it's just it's a drama. Literally people are just sitting back and watching what the US is doing now. It's become an ongoing you could say soap opera, because what's Trump going to say now? What's Trump going to do now? What kind of war is he going to start with? It's kind of sickening because people are just looking at us and just making a whole drama series out of it.
Do you feel like the imagery of the U.S. has gone down to an all-time low along with Israel? So
Big
it's
time.
all the way down, right?
You don't even have to think of it. Like it's literally what everybody is talking about. Everybody's talking about it.
Mm. Does not really put us in a good place, especially like when you yourself are a U.S. citizen, right? And
Hmm.
you are in a foreign country in a region where now the local sentiments is at an all-time
Yeah,
low.
you become representative who yeah, you become representative from where you're from, technically, you know. Obviously I'm originally from Pakistan itself, but now I live in the US. I am a US citizen, you know, my kids are US citizens. So, we are actual Americans, but it becomes a sad point where you paint the whole town red because few people did bad things.
Yeah.
Just like religion, and you know how that works. Like
Oh yeah.
one person comes out and then, oh yeah, this whole religion is just
Yeah.
this. So
It's gotten the Islamophobia also in itself over here has gotten it to a point where they use these misinformation tactics to really vilify the entire religion, like because of few bad apples.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
same thing in India. Like you look at
Mm-hmm.
the nationalists, right? The Hindu nationalists. It paints a completely very bad picture of what Hindus are, because even
Mm-hmm.
Nepal is a Hindu country. I'm from Nepal. It's
Yeah.
predominantly Hindu, but it's a secular state.
Yeah.
Every religion is free there. But even there,
Yep.
like when as Hindus, when we look outside, when they look outside, they're like, "Oh my God, these guys are crazy," and they're calling other
Yeah.
people that are like Hindu nationalists crazy for them even being Hindu
Mm-hmm.
themselves. This is not how this is not how things are supposed to be. And in the U.S., it's getting to a point so much that I feel like a lot of like people are being dragged from so many different, like, to one extreme to another. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
yeah, and this experience that you're going through right now, has it changed your way of like how you should probably participate in politics more? Do you feel like, because you said like you're never into politics, you didn't care much about it, but now you're in this situation, do you feel like they like, I wouldn't say like run for office, but
Oh
at
no.
least have
Never.
at least
No. Never.
not for office, but at least provide information
Yeah.
and knowledge to people like, hey, listen, our decisions, if we put it into power, can affect a lot of people, like
Yeah.
thousands of people, just out of nowhere like this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And the funny thing is actually because instead of my 9 to 5 job is basically I'm a community liaison. So I directly work with like people who are facing eviction, might be going homeless, and might be facing like financial burdens because of their circumstances. We get them the right type of help from the city of New York and the state of New York, right? So I kind of work in that kind of political zone where I have to talk to elected officials and let them know, hey, these towns are facing major problems. They need funding. They need resources for children who are under the age of 12 because they don't have books, they don't have shelter, they don't have, you know, soap. Literally, they don't have soap.
Mm-hmm.
These people need ongoing assistance because unfortunately, either their parents made bad decisions or they're just brought up in the wrong household, and that's real life, right? So I talk to these officials and let them know there are problems in the local communities, and also inform the people who are trying to seek assistance and saying, hey, you are seeking assistance. That's great, but don't forget who is able to get you this assistance as well. Because if your elected officials don't speak about it, you're not gonna that it's not gonna trickle down to you. You have to vote. You have to stand up and see who is going to be the right leader in your community, whether you're a Christian community, whether you're a Muslim community, whether you're a Hindu community, whatever it is, you have to have the right representatives to represent your group and say, this is the best person out of us. He's going to get us the right help. But you also have to vocalize it because you, from being Nepal, and from Nepal, we've had Indian friends before, we have Pakistani friends before, and I know firsthand a lot of our Pakistani community, Indian community, they have had language barriers when they were coming into this world in the last 20 years. Now, not so much because obviously we have grown up, we're kind of taking that lead role, right? Those communities have language barriers and they feel intimidated to be involved in communities. That's why their voices were never heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe, obviously, in this day and age, with you having ChatGPT, first of all, right? You having Google search, you have all this information in your hand, and you're still lacking a path to have a good life or whatever it is. I think I am involved in the politics as just as enough to let the voice be heard. But because of this situation, I think the whole world should be just kind of aware that, hey, wherever you are, whoever you're voting for, make sure you're doing the right thing because it really matters. Because look at what we're facing for the last, 8 to 10 years, or even 12 years with these presidents. We've just been
Yeah.
constant war, constant.
Yeah, it hasn't stopped since 2001. That's
Yeah.
whenever, ever since I remember coming to this country in 2001 August, and 9/11 happened in September, and that looked like a movie scene in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was in upstate New York.
I came in 2001 April 24th.
Damn.
Literally, that's when I moved to that's when I moved to the US.
It is insane, man. Just like to I don't recall a time in the 25 years I've lived in this
Mm-hmm.
country. Those 25 years has been just war.
War consistently.
Consistent
And the
war.
bullying. Don't forget how many times you probably got bullied. I know I got
Oh
bullied
yeah.
because I was already here and people knew I was a Muslim Pakistani kid. I was very cool, whatever. Right? 9/11 happens. Guess what? 9/12 the next day, I get out of my car, I got jumped by six people, and guess who gets in trouble? I got in trouble.
Yeah.
The only kid.
Yeah. And you know
I had literally a parent drag me from my shirt to the principal office.
that's insane. That's insane. I remember like I look Asian, dude. Like, I don't even look that Indian, you know what I mean? I don't have those and I was the only foreign kid in upstate New York. So, but thankfully, the kids over there weren't as bad, but they would make jokes. They would be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you're terrorists, blah blah."
of
blah. And
course.
I'm like, dude, I'm nothing like that. And then like in
Not
that,
even.
not even from there, right? But you know what it is like it's the whole like we all put them together, right? That's the whole thing.
Yep, yep.
You put them together. If your
It's
skin
the
color, if you're a little bit brown,
ignorance.
that's it. Yeah. If you're a little bit brown,
Hmm.
you're in that party automatically, right? And
What are you
it's
gonna do?
tough. Yeah, what are you gonna do, right? And I don't know like what can be done. I feel like with Zoran Mamdani being the mayor of New York, I think like we are going into like a proper like we're taking little baby steps towards
Hmm.
normalizing it. But you can openly even see like the Democratic Party when they were trying to go against him, they use the same tactics to
Hmm.
kind of like put him down. But the one thing I love about Zoran is the fact that he's not bought by anybody. He's doing whatever he says, and he's a prime example of what kind of leaders locally and
Hmm.
from a state
Hmm.
level and even from a federal
Hmm.
level, that is the type of like leaders we want. Because I feel like I love Bernie Sanders, I love AOC, just because like how they're always trying to fight for the people. That's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah,
But I feel like
yeah.
Zoran is that charismatic character that can really pull a lot of people together and really change. Because
Hmm.
to do what he did in New York City of all places, right? Corporate
Yeah,
Democrats galore. That is like a stronghold of those Democratic Party, that the Chuck Schumers and so on and so forth, right? To
absolutely.
be able to do that over there, I think
Hmm.
I feel like there is a little bit of hope, and I think that is also another reason why everything is escalating so fast, because they see that
The
turnover that's
change.
happening. Yeah, the change
Yeah,
happening.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
It's so there's a couple of points to this before. I mean, I'm sure we've taken a lot of time, but before like, I just want people to understand something that change doesn't happen overnight. I'm sure you know that. I know that. A lot of people know that, but people don't realize the actual wording that I just said. Change does not happen overnight. Mamdani just didn't get born into this yesterday.
yeah,
There was a level of obviously hardship he probably felt, a lot of racism, which he faces still now in the office.
yep,
But he got there, right?
yep,
So if you want to sit back and complain about somebody who was in office who got elected, obviously he did something right and you didn't, because you sat there and you had Twitter fingers instead of actually trying to make a change. So just because somebody made a change because they look different in a way, because they are different and they're there and they're getting the attention, what's what's the harm in that? They got there on the by by whatever steps they took, they got there, right?
yeah,
So
because
that's
of
how I
merit.
look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you are that upset, guess what? Run next time.
yep,
Start your own campaign, right? Do whatever you want to do to make the change. Again, the words are very hard to simplify, but the simplest word is be the change you want to be. So if you're not going to be whatever you want to see, then don't be mad when somebody else is doing it,
exactly.
right?
It's very easy to be keyboard warriors. That's one thing I'll tell you for sure.
Of course,
It
of
is
course,
so easy to be
of
keyboard warriors.
course.
People always have opinions. They can just
Mm-hmm.
say whatever they want to say, And at the end of the day, another thing is like I feel like people are not as educated about
No,
politics
that's
in
the
a sense.
problem. Yeah, yeah. It's like, again, we have all the information we need, right? Now, the problem is we do have their information, but we don't have the background checked patience for it
Yeah,
anymore. People just forward whatever they see on the first clip and say, "Oh, look what this guy did," right? And then 2 minutes later or a day later, somebody comes back to you and say, "Hey, actually, this guy was right. What he was doing. It's
yeah,
just that you didn't get the right information right away."
exactly.
So that's the sad part.
And it's the constant flip flopping by our politicians. It's turned into this like I'm a red and blue kind of like battle. That's what's all that's happening. But I really
Mm-hmm.
hope that something comes out of this situation, and I really hope that you get back safely. And I'll be checking up on you, dude. Like
Fingers crossed.
please.
Fingers crossed.
I hope and pray, thoughts and prayers. I'm not even that religious, but goddamn, bro, like I gotta make sure that you come back soon, because like I feel
I
like
know,
you have a
inshallah.
story to tell. You have a story to tell, and just stay
Hmm.
safe. Um,
Yeah. No,
I
thank
know.
you. And just be like, just letting it out there. Like, I'm not a complainer, but I just felt like I was trying to put information out there for people. Because a lot of people, my family and the other cousins were like sending me information. Oh, call this person. You should be back soon. I'm like, guys, it's really not that simple.
Yeah,
I'm not going to drive 12 hours to another city and just be told, oh, your flight is booked or your flights are canceled. I can't do that. I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't do that. So I rather play it safe, and hopefully Kuwait updates everything as well and lets the civilian knows. Maybe, for a brief period of time, open commercial flights back from the airport because I need my luggage. I need all the stuff in there.
out of
I gotta
everything
get
you.
back to work. My wife needs to get back to work. They've been accommodating both of us. We have full-time jobs. Our kids' school showed up to the house because we weren't able to call them back. And they just wanted to make sure that, the kid is alive. Like literally,
Yeah,
think
yeah,
think,
yeah.
think about it. So there's so
Man,
many variables that I can't even, it's like things put it on paper in front of me because things are just coming up as we go. And
yeah.
what are you gonna do?
I
What
mean,
are you gonna do?
it goes to show that when you're not in that situation, it's so easy to say things, right? Because
Yeah.
you just mentioned a while back, like little girl was at her house and a
Mm-hmm.
fragment fell down, and then you're asking someone to travel 12 hours in a war zone. That doesn't even that
Mm-hmm.
sounds really easy to say, but when you're in that
Yep.
situation, you don't know the type of people that are out there. If there's like militants, if there's like I don't know, people who are
Road
going to take
pirates.
advantage. Yeah, road
At
pirates.
this point, this could be road pirates, but like they stop you wearing military clothes, and guess what? You get robbed. You never know. You just
Exactly.
never know.
Exactly. Man. Yeah, listen, man. I think like I'll reach back out to you again. We're gonna plan this a lot more just to see what's your update. I feel like everybody kind of needs to also hear your story. I'll put
Mm-hmm.
this on YouTube, as you know, on the channel as well,
Appreciate it.
because I feel like people need to know what's actually happening, and it could be any one
Mm-hmm.
of us. And I feel like this is a great way to also voice your opinion out there, because I don't think there has been that many people who've gotten an opportunity to really share what's actually happening to them. And
Yeah, absolutely.
they can share stuff from their Instagram, but you know how the Instagram algorithm works. They don't want to put that stuff out
Yeah.
there. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
man, I really hope that I really hope this war ends early, fast. I
I
really hope.
know. That's the first thing, man. That's the first thing because it's dangerous. I'm telling you, it's very dangerous here. Like people are not realizing. It's gonna get messy, and if they keep the Strait of if I'm saying it right, Strait of Hormuz
Yeah.
closed, guess what? Nepal's not gonna get their oil. India's not gonna get their oil. Pakistan's not gonna get their oil. All the shipping going in and out of that region, they're not. A lot of the world's oil traffic
Mm-hmm.
is gonna be blocked,
Yep.
and transports are gonna be blocked. So it's not good. It's not
Yep.
good at all.
Gas prices only gone up over here by 50, 60 cents in a couple of days. I'm predicting it'll be five
Oh
bucks.
Lord.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God. And
And
you're in Texas.
I'm in Texas.
Right? Yeah. So
It's
my New York price is probably up $1 already. I'm
Yep.
sure.
If it goes on for like a couple of weeks, I can see people finally turning against this
Yeah.
war. But it's a
Hmm.
matter of like, do the leadership of this country, are they going to do the right thing, or can they even do the right thing at this point in time? I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna keep my lips sealed for that one. We all know the answer,
Yep.
so we're gonna hope for the best and prepare for the worst, right? That's how the wording is. Yeah, prepare for the worst and just hope for the best, because
Yeah.
that's all we can do at this point. Hopefully,
Uh,
just be safe. Also just be mindful wherever you say to certain people. Keep your kind of intrusive thoughts to yourself, because sometimes people don't have the right intentions.
oh
They
yeah.
really don't. They really don't, and you don't want to be put into a situation where they're like, "Oh, look at this person, how vocal they're out about certain but somebody," and next thing you know, their life is flipped upside down.
Yeah, I know. I think like it's a for me. I feel like being a single guy. I feel like that's one purpose that I have. I have to put the voice out there, especially for the voiceless,
Yeah.
and that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that is motivating me, and
That's good. That's good.
and I think it's very needed. It's very needed because after everything, I mean, I don't know if you know, but since the Obama days when Palestine was getting attacked by rockets here and there, I've been talking about it, and
Uh,
last year was just too much. It was just too much, and the year before that was again too much, and that's when I realized, like, you know what, I'm better off being an independent because I'm gonna
yeah.
go to the nitty
Yep.
gritty. The people who actually want to do something, who are just not like talking out of their ass just for votes, and that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
it's
all it
important.
is. That's all it is.
Yeah, man.
That's important, man. I appreciate it. And really, like, the work shows for itself. So you don't even have to say half the stuff you just said, because
Yeah,
it's the value of what you do, right? So
yeah.
you don't have to like showboat your way through something.
Oh, absolutely not.
If you're doing something for the right reasons, it shows and it's valuable, it's authentic.
Yeah,
You're not trying hard in this, if you're trying to understand what I'm saying. But that's all that matters. And I really appreciate it, man. Mashallah. Everything's good. I know that I've been following the channels, since the podcast started. So keep it up, man.
no, man. You know
Yeah,
what?
keep it up
I'm
and
gonna
things will go well.
give me your Instagram details because like anybody who watches this, I'm sure to give you a follow. If you want to see daily updates of
Yeah,
Hassan, like
please.
follow him on Instagram. Really get to see the experience. It's very easy for us to say a lot of different things, sitting comfortably back in the U.S. or just looking into our phones
Mm-hmm.
and just be like, oh, this and that's happening. It's very easy to do
Yeah.
that, but once you kind of like get to see what's happening from someone of our own from the US, being having to
Mm-hmm.
experience all those things, remember, when things like this happen, you could be stranded there too. What do you do then? What decisions do you
What you
make?
should do. Yeah, exactly.
it's
Exactly. Be
it's
prepared for
it's
it.
you
Yep.
just have to be prepared for it, especially in this day and age
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
everything that's happening. I think it's very important that we all know the consequences of
Mm-hmm.
what we do and who we vote for. So hopefully this is something that reaches out to a lot of people. Hope and follow us on, man. That's all I can say. And Hassan, I'll
Thank
reach
you,
out to you
man.
again, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
for sure, dude. Like
Will do. Thank you so much. Thank you
stay
so much for
safe.
having me.
Yeah, stay
Thank you
safe
to the
and
team. Thank you for everybody listening.
all right, dude.
I'll see
See you
you
later.
guys soon, man.
Get back
Thank you.
safe.